Hey, so you're considering moving to Colorado Springs. Maybe you just got that job promotion and you start work Monday. Or maybe you just got a brand new telecommuting position all locked down with your new company and all they keep telling you is go find a home in Colorado Springs. Well, in this video, I'm filling in your missing pieces to your puzzle and the most important question to ask yourself, which is where to live in Colorado Springs. What are the neighborhoods like here? What are the best school districts for my kids? And most importantly, who's gonna guide me through this entire process and help me make the right decision for my family? If that sounds like you, then stick around because we're getting into it next. Hey, what's up everyone? Mark Davis here and welcome to the Colorado Springs Life. Now I'm a realtor living right here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And on this channel, we're covering everything there is to know about living, working, and playing here in Colorado Springs. So if you're thinking about moving your family out to Colorado Springs or the surrounding areas, then give us a call. My team and I, we get contacted from people just like you from all over the country. So give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, however you want to get a hold of us, we got your back when moving to the Springs. Now, I'm sure you've heard that phrase, location, location, location. Well, in real estate, where you choose to put your roots down, it's all about that location, which basically makes it the first, second, and third most important thing to think about. So in this episode, I'm gonna be covering where to live in Colorado Springs. And so I've broken the city down into 5 regions where we're pretty much just gonna go through the city one by one. So without further ado, let's get started. The Northside. Now, the north side of the city comprises of some of the most desirable areas in Colorado Springs. And so if you're looking at housing on the northeast side of town, you're looking at neighborhoods like Forest Meadows, Shiloh Mesa, and Banning Lewis Ranch, just off of East Woodman Road and Mark Scheffel Road. Now, the Banning Lewis Ranch community covers an area roughly 30,000 acres, and in the mid-1900s served as a cattle ranching operation owned by Raymond W. Lewis and Ruth Banning Lewis. Today, there are many new build homes ranging from the 400s to the mid-500s and up, with more homes being built every day. Located in School District 49, this award-winning community offers amenities like a 24-hour fitness center, tennis courts, dog parks, aquatic center, junior Olympic-sized pool, neighborhood playgrounds, and over 65 acres of parks and trails, as well as recreational areas, perfect for the family. This one-of-a-kind master plan community is one of the fastest growing and most desirable areas of the city. And if you're looking for a more laid-back suburban kind of lifestyle, this definitely fits the bill. And stick around to the end of this video where I'm gonna be giving you 3 valuable tips on what you can prepare in advance over the next 48 hours that'll definitely help you make your transition here to the Springs a lot easier. What's nice about Colorado Springs is that you can choice into any school district in the city, and you're always guaranteed a spot within the school district that you live. Also, within the choice enrollment window, each year, you can also apply to schools outside of your school district. We have some of the best private schools in the country here, like the Colorado Springs Christian Schools, CSCS, Fountain Valley School, and the Colorado Springs School, just to name a few. Now, if you continue north on Powers Boulevard, it's where you're gonna find a lot of the major employers here in the city. We've got St. Francis Medical Center, and just a few miles from there, we have UC Health Memorial Hospital North, and one of the top children's hospitals in the country in the Children's Hospital of Colorado, serving as a hub to the Front Range with medical jobs, training, and this is the area where a lot of people who have jobs in the medical field end up coming to work. Once you start heading further northbound on Powers Boulevard, that's where there's been a whole lot of development, like the Wolf Ranch and Cordera neighborhoods. And these neighborhoods are actively being built out right now, with filings and sections being rolled out all throughout the year. We also have Bradley Ranch and the far north section of Flying Horse currently under construction. There's also newer neighborhoods like North Fork and The Farm that give you access to some of the best schools and shopping in the city. On the other side of Powers Boulevard is Briargate, which is part of the Academy School District 20 and is rated one of the best school districts in the state and one of the most desired zip codes in the entire country, which is 80920. Popular with young families and professionals, Briargate has seen crazy appreciation over the last 20 years. And if you're looking for a neighborhood that's in the 400s. You're pretty much find what you're looking for there, although it's really started to go up over the last few years into the 500s and sometimes even in the $600,000 range. With views of the Rocky Mountains, including Pikes Peak, and close access to the ranch-themed John Venezia Park, as well as indoor-outdoor shopping malls like the Promenade Shops at Briargate, where you're gonna have everything in there from the Apple Store and Pottery Barn to restaurants like P.F. Chang's and Bad Daddy's Burger Barn. You also have the older, more established Pine Creek neighborhood, a golf course community close by, just off of Powers Boulevard between Briargate Boulevard and Old Ranch Road. And many of the homes in the neighborhood are on the golf course and have spectacular views of the Rocky Mountains and the Front Range. We've also got large financial institutions like T. Rowe Price and the newly opened Ent Federal Credit Union headquarters, as well as major employers like USAA and Progressive Insurance in the area. Now, if you like golf, you're also gonna like the Flying Horse neighborhood, which is another very prestigious golf course community, where homes in there, I mean, they're ranging anywhere from the 700s and up pretty quick into the millions. But they are really nice. I mean, they have access to green spaces, a tennis club, spa, the Flying Horse Steakhouse, just to name a few of the amenities they have in there. And it's within close proximity to Northgate, where you're gonna have the newly opened Topgolf and Overdrive Raceway, an indoor go-kart track. You've got Bass Pro Shops and a ton of other shops and restaurants. And it's also near where the new stretch of CO21 North Powers Boulevard was recently opened, giving you access to the north gate of the Air Force Academy as well as I-25. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below saying I subscribe, and I'll do my very best to reply to as many comments as possible. Westside. Now, on the other side of I-25, we have the Northwest area, where popular neighborhoods like Rock Rimmon, Mountain Shadows, and Kissing Camels are located. Now, this area of the city is one of my favorites because you're so close to the mountains and the pine trees, and it looks a lot like what folks imagine Colorado to be like, with its rustic vibe, as well as some of the most amazing views of the city that go for miles. You've got Ute Valley Park, where you can go hiking and biking with tons of trails, and it's just a great place to relax and have fun outdoors with the family. Now, a lot of the homes that you're gonna find in this area are gonna be quite a bit older, like 1970s and 80s, and then into the early 1990s. But these prices in there have not slowed down at all. I mean, it's easy to spend in the 500s in northwest side of town and go up from there. In the case of Kissing Camels, a gated community facing the Front Range and Garden of the Gods Park, which is a national landmark, that attracts millions and millions of tourists per year to the area. In there, you're looking at anywhere from 800,000 and up. And 800,000 in Kissing Camels is considered cheap. This area is also known for its hills, mountains, and wildlife. And just on the other side of I-25, you have UCCS, the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs. And in there, you've got their main campus in there. And that's actually a really great place to find affordable housing and to own investment rental properties because there's a large student population that rents in there. There's the University Village, an outdoor shopping center right there off of North Nevada Avenue with tons of restaurants and shopping like Cowboy Star Restaurant, BJ's, Panera Bread, Trader Joe's. There's also the Urban Egg, my wife and I's favorite breakfast spot, where I always get the exact same thing. Corned beef and hash, 2 eggs over easy with sauteed peppers and jalapeno bacon chutney with a side of green chili. Typically, we have a really nice time there if we luck out and we get our boys to sit still for 30 minutes. You've also got big box stores like Lowe's, Trader Joe's, and Costco right there in that same shopping center as well. And it being so centrally located right off Nevada Avenue, if you head south, you're in the old historic North End district, which is right next to Colorado College, and then continuing on to the city center downtown. The wide, tree-lined streets are home to an interesting mix of traditional as well as modern architectural styles. East-west streets are named after regional rivers, while north to south streets are named after regional mountain ranges. There's a ton of stuff to do downtown, including a full day of family fun and activities at museums, parks, and attractions. The Colorado Springs Philharmonic performs at the Pikes Peak Center throughout the year. Also, we've got the already iconic US Olympic and Paralympic Sports Museum just within walking distance of downtown, honoring outstanding athletes and hosts special events there. The only one of its kind in the country, the museum is a must-see destination for anybody interested in learning about what it takes to compete in the Olympics or the Paralympics through artifacts, multimedia, and cutting edge technology. And now if you like turn of the century architecture and Victorian style homes, then the North End is just what you want. My wife is always talking about living in an old Victorian home. And I'm like, you know how much it costs to heat and cool a 100-year-old home? Plus in the historic district, you're gonna have tourists walking by slowly, posting selfies on Instagram. Come on, babe. For neighborhoods, you have Divine Redeemer, Gold Hill Mesa, and Ivy Wild. Now, Gold Hill Mesa is basically on the other side of I-25. It sits up and it overlooks all of downtown, but it's still on my list because it's in close relation to downtown. The Divine Redeemer and Ivy Wild have a kind of a different vibe. They're more of like a retro neighborhood. You've got 1950s bungalows in there. You've got 1960s, sort of more mid-mod. And then you've also got the 70s style ranchers as well. So, but they're definitely nice and they're definitely in demand because they are in such close proximity to downtown. Now, making our way down south, you're gonna take I-25, which pretty much runs the whole entire stretch of the city from north to south. So it's pretty easy to navigate and describe the layout of the land to your in-laws, especially if they're military or former military. You just say Cheyenne Mountain to the west, Air Force Academy up north, Fort Carson down south, and Schriever and Peterson Air Force bases out east. Which brings me to Fort Carson, which is on the south side of Colorado Springs, and it's also where they're building a ton of new build communities. You've got the Broadmoor Bluffs neighborhood, where a lot of the retired generals live, and up there you can basically see a view of Colorado Springs, but you also see a first-hand view of Fort Carson. You've also got a really good school district in Cheyenne Mountain Schools, District 12, which is definitely ranked in the top 3 in the city. If you have older kids, then there's Cheyenne Mountain High School off Cresta Road in 80906 with the Front Range and Cheyenne Mountain as its backdrop. And it ranks number 22 in the state according to the US News Best Rankings for High Schools. There's also a lot of touristy stuff to do here. The Cheyenne Mountain Zoo is where we take our boys for a nice family trip. Definitely recommend getting a year pass so that you always have something that's educational, fun, and reasonably priced on tap if you have younger kids. We take our boys there and they walk around, they get some fresh air, they see real living, breathing creatures rather than the imaginary ones on Mario or Legend of Zelda. So that right there is worth the price of admission.
You win! Perfect!
You've also got the world-renowned Broadmoor Hotel for staycations and golf, as well as the Broadmoor World Arena, which is where you can see shows and attractions ranging anywhere from Travis Tritt and T-Pain to monster trucks and Blippi. Some of the neighborhoods close by are Skyway Park, Cresta Vista, Stratton Meadows, Lordson Ranch, the Security Whitefield neighborhood, as well as the city of Fountain, just neighboring Colorado Springs to the south. And despite not being an incorporated city, Security Whitefield, according to NerdWallet, ranks second in top Colorado growth cities based on population, employment, and income growth. So as we stay on the south side of town, with the Mesa Ridge Parkway being a mainstay for access to Fort Carson, that area of town gives you access to communities like Heritage, Deerfield, Cumberland Green, as well as Lordson Ranch further out east, with close conveniences to restaurants and shopping, and Mesa Ridge High School and the Fountain Creek Regional Park. Also, check out the video that I did right up here, which talks about the cost of living in Colorado Springs. There's a ton of information in that video. I give you inside information into the cost of living here, from a mortgage payment to gas, groceries, and utilities. That information in that video will blow you away. And lastly is the Eastside, as well as the Powers Corridor. It's close proximity to Schriever and Peterson Air Force bases. You have the Colorado Springs Airport out there, as well as the newly opened Amazon Fulfillment Center for jobs. It's also where we're experiencing the most growth, simply because we really can't build any more to the west because you have the mountains there, especially large master plan communities. So they're building out east where it's flat. So it's perfect for folks looking for a more laid-back suburban kind of lifestyle. And it's nice because you're close to the Powers Corridor, which is a huge section of neighboring communities, and it's shaped like a huge rectangle within close proximity to large shopping centers like First and Main, where you've got the IMAX Theater, the Super Target, and restaurants like AI Sushi and the newly opened In-N-Out Burger. Right next door, we have some of the best neighborhoods in the city, like Stetson Hills, Springs Ranch, Indigo Ranch, and Hannah Ridge, just to name a few. Now, homes in there were built in the late 1990s and 2000s and are actively still being built here, ranging in price from the 400s to the low 600s, depending on the size of the home. This area of the city is basically like its own ecosystem. You never really need to leave this side of town or anything really. I mean, it's where the city is putting millions and millions of dollars worth of infrastructure and improvements. So if you've learned anything today, just remember Powers Corridor, because you're gonna be hearing a lot more about it if you end up moving here. Pro tip number 3, get in contact or meet with a local lender here in Colorado Springs before you sell your home or even before you move. You want a local lender here to know you and know your specific set of circumstances beforehand so that they can prepare a strategy that's customized to your needs. Pro tip number 2, take a weekend trip out to Colorado Springs ahead of your move to get a good layout of the land and interview a few agents that can show you some homes in person. Which brings me to pro tip number 1. Invite a local realtor to sit down with you at your current home that you're gonna be selling before you move here to lock down a timetable and start the process of getting your home professionally shot by a local photographer beforehand. All right, everybody, that is going to about wrap up this video. I hope that you've enjoyed this and found some value from it. Now, if you want to check out more about what Colorado Springs has to offer, I've sourced 2 of my best videos for you as links at the end of this video as a resource for you. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification button so you never miss out. And as always, my friends, thanks for watching. Mark out.